pre-war building. This is the facade.
And they just showed the block and how it's like very central, and to his right is the park and to his left is all the subways.
Yep. So this is one block. You can see the brownstone block.
Oh,
right?
It's a really pretty block.
Pretty.
And at the end of the block is the park.
Oh, you're at
Right
you're 1 block from the park. That's
Yep,
important.
1 block from the park. This is a building across. It's the Griffin. It's a co-op. And this is the intersection of South Oxford and Lafayette. And 1 block to straight ahead is the AC line. 1 block to your right is a G line. And then there's restaurants, bodegas. It's really very central. The entryway, you have basically an intercom. It's a video intercom. So you can see as people are coming in. I'm going to go in. So as we enter, you have your mailbox. It's fairly wide. One of the things I like is a front door is a double door wide. And the entry stoop, it's got a nice wide stoop. So it's a good place. I've seen people hang out here. When they're moving, it's such an easy way to move in. It is a pre-war building, but an elevator building. So as you enter the hallway,
oh, it's nice.
On your right is the elevator, and then you have a little package area behind you, or for their apartments. Here's a stairway down to the basement, but the elevator also goes to the basement. Now I showed you the block. Here's the same block, turn of century, and as you can see, this is the building. The block hasn't changed. When they say these buildings were built to last, they will go past our lifetime, So this is the same block as it was, and that same dreary day. Now I'm just gonna switch over to Helen, because I'm gonna go into the elevator, and in case I get cut off because I'm on my cell phone. So Helen's gonna tell you a little bit about the building, the number of units, when it was built, etc.
Inside of the elevator, please?
Sure, let me go in and I'll show you. Just give me 1 second.
Sure.
Any of the buildings around there have doormen?
The big one across the street would, maybe.
Thank you. Thanks, sir.
So guys, you should be able to see the floor plan on the screen right now.
Yes.
It's a very interesting building, and actually what's interesting too is what Resma had pointed out before, which is in the older picture on the wall, the facade of the building is largely unchanged. The interesting thing about this building actually was that back in 1987 there was a big fire and it basically ravaged the inside of the building, but the facade remained. And so that means that the insides are all new as of, what happened was after the fire, squatters took over for several years, and then the local developer came and converted the building to condos in the 1990s. And so the inside is all new as of that time, but the facade, which is what's really gorgeous, is exactly as it was way back when. So that's actually pretty what makes this a very iconic building. Now also you can see that this apartment is actually split level as opposed to a duplex. And what's interesting is that there's probably no other condo in Brooklyn that's actually a split level, because usually they're duplexes. You enter this on the bedroom floor, and up a small flight of stairs is where you have the living room and the kitchen. I'm going to actually switch back to Reswan so he can show you these hallway right outside. Hang on a sec.
And Helen, how many square feet is it again? It's about 800?
It's about 825, 850, yes, in that area. Okay.
So just to show you the elevator, this is the elevator I just came out. Let me just go inside. Oops. This is the inside of the elevator. 6 stories into the cellar. Oops.
Yeah.
Before somebody send me over.
It's a good elevator.
Oops. Okay. So the hallway was redone about a year ago. So these rugs are new, the painting's all done new. So changes the interior curb appeal. It was kind of not a very nice color before. This is your chute for garbage. So you have to take garbage down. And 5D is in the back of the building. So given it's in the back of the building, it does face Lafayette. So here's the entryway. What I like about the entryway is these diagonal black and white tiles. It really does make this entryway pop up. And as Helen mentioned, on your left is stairs going up to the living room.
Okay.
And on this level, you have the 2 bedrooms and the bathrooms. So let me just hang my cap. You've got a nice little entryway coat shelf. As you can see, the wallpaper is kind of a vintage antique. It was done about 10 years ago. So it has worn, but that adds a little bit to the character of it. So the entire hallway, except for that side wall, has this wallpaper. Obviously, you can take it out if you don't like. There are crown moldings. The door frames does have frames. These are not original. These are put in. But I think the moldings might be. Actually, well, maybe not.
Looks like the ceilings are pretty high.
Ceilings are, I think they're 9. It also depends. Helen, they're 9 feet, I think?
Yeah.
The door is 7, so yeah, they're about 9 feet. So I'll show you the bathroom. The bathroom is pretty basic. It's been rented for several years, so the bathroom could do an upgrade, but it is, fully equipped. It's got, your double vanity, typical vanities. It does have a window out, and the window is south facing, so it is a windowed bathroom. Now the 2 bedrooms are right opposite to each other. This is being used as the master bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
It could be used as the other one could be used. I mean, slightly smaller, but does fit a queen bed. This is the one that has the least amount of light in the entire apartment. That's because you have a small window. But however, I do want to point out that while the window faces a wall, because of the 5th floor, you actually have clear sky that comes, so it does bring in light. Also, this is south facing. So the key thing to note is that it's not a bright, doesn't have clear views, but it's also not a dark bedroom. I'll turn off the light, and as you can see, it's actually still quite bright. So just want to point that out. The master bedroom, or this room, does have a fairly large and deep walk-in closet. I'm actually getting in it. So I'm in it right now. As you can see,
That's nice.
it has 2 racks and shelves up to the ceiling, all the way down and on both sides.
That's really nice.
So it's plenty of storage. One of the things nice about this unit, it does have very good closet space. You also have a storage space in the basement that comes with the unit. So now, if you have no other questions, I'll go to the second or the other bedroom. This is slightly bigger and also much more brighter because it has a full window. So I'll give you a quick scan of the bedroom. This is Miles, the baby, his room. He's
Which
actually
room's
born in
bigger?
this apartment.
Or are they the same size?
This room is, they're about the same size. This is slightly bigger by about a foot wider. It's also a little bit more square. So from the window, you can see it's a big window. Half of it faces the wall. The other half does give you a full view of Lafayette. And this is, again, south facing, so it does get very good light.
That's pretty.
So again, treetop views. The other thing about this bedroom, it has, like the other one, does not have a walk-in closet, but it has very deep and wide, his or her closets. So I'll go into the closets for you. This is one side, a little splash of flamenco.
You did smart with the closet space.
Yeah, the closets are pretty deep and usable. And then you have space up on top, right?
Cool.
For storage. Now, there's also 2 additional closets in the hallway. So this is one. This is a deeper and bigger one. That's right to your right when you enter. So you can tell this is about 4 feet deep, has racks, and also wraps a little bit around by about 1.5 feet. So that's a pretty deep closet. So before I show you your closet, this is your video intercom. So you can actually, whoops, I gotta turn it on. Okay. So you can actually see people visiting and let them in. And then as you go up
No,
the,
it's not a doorman. There's a video intercom.
yeah, there's no doorman. And a lot of these buildings usually don't have doormans because of the size. And it's typical with Brooklyn unless you have a large building. This is the other closet. This is about, I would say, 3 feet deep, 3 feet wide. And then you have a little storage bin up on top.
Cool.
So I think, good utility closet. So when you come into the entryway again, closet here, another closet there, it makes very functional use of the space. Granted, it's not a big apartment, but what I like about it is that given how you have a separated living and private bedroom, it creates a separation of space. And also the ceiling heights makes it feel bigger than it is.
Got
it. The living room floors are stained this blue, and it's kind of aged, so it has kind of a very rustic feel, but if you don't like the color, you can easily buff it. It's hardwood oak floors, okay? Now the living room is tight, but it is super bright because it is a corner, and this is south-facing Lafayette, right? And then on the west side, I'll show you the west-facing window. It basically gives you a view of the roofs of all the brownstones. So you get clear sky and nothing will ever get built over here. So your view and the light is pretty much intact. The other view, this is the view that I really love, and I've sat on this couch many times. It's a really nice view of, there's a church right across, and I think right on the left there's some lanterns that hang out at night, but you get treetop views, Lafayette, south facing, and it's a really wide window. So this brings a tremendous amount of light. On the left of it, there's a bookshelf, built-in bookshelf on the left, and on the right, there's stay. And then I'll kind of give you a reverse view of the living room from the couch perspective, right? So you've got this open kitchen with this huge bar and a wood-burning working fireplace. So this is actually a working wood-burning, and they have the TV up on top. If that's not where you want to put the TV in, I'll take you behind it. This is possibly exposable brick, if you like exposed brick. The fireplace, I'll give you a close-up view. It is working, and they do clean the chimneys.
That's fun.
Now the heat is a baseboard heating. Now keep in mind, this building, the common charges is not only low, given it does cover a management company, as well as the maintenance upkeep. It also includes heat and hot water. So there's central heat, and the taxes are unabated. And the one thing I have to point out is, while there's gas that's being used for the burner, the boiler, there's no gas in the unit. So when you cook, you have a double oven, right? A double refrigerator, the freezer, but there is no gas.
Oh no!
Yeah. So, this is a electric countertop. You can use induction. Induction's pretty cool, but if you're looking for a gas range, this unit won't have that, and the building won't allow that. So that's one thing I want to point out. I mean, you have fire there, right? You can burn some marshmallows, but there is no gas cooking. So the other thing I'll point out is the kitchen has a window to the west, so you get very good light. You can also have a little herb garden. Right above it, there's a little hidden secret. See, right over there, to the T?
Yeah.
That is actually a vent. So one of the things you have to recognize is that with pre-war buildings, they won't allow you to put a vent in because they won't allow you to put a hole in the wall, right? So luckily, this unit does actually have a hole in the wall, which is a strategic asset, because if you ever wanted to have, say, a hood and want to have a vent out, that's easy to do. That's pre-existing. When the owners bought it, they did the renovation, they capped it because they didn't have a need for it, right? So just want to point that out. Kitchen, otherwise, any questions, Emma?
Yeah, so this is the only type of stove that you can have in this building, right? Correct? Electric.
Yeah, no gas. So electric or induction. Induction, this is not an induction. So I would recommend induction because induction is pretty neat. It's actually quite advanced cooking.
Because I actually
I'm
do a lot of cooking, so it's definitely of interest to me to figure out the best.
Sure. I would, if because I do a lot of passive house work where you don't have gas, and I live to eat, so food is the most important thing for me actually. So take a look into induction cooking because it actually is relatively new in the U.S., but in use a lot in Europe, and it's actually quite effective. One thing I want to point out is you see how big the countertop is. So the owners did it by design because they didn't want a dining table. This is what they used as a dining table. But if you wanted to kind of have a formal dining table, one option is this is your dishwasher, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they have all these cabinets. You could technically just cut off the island from here onwards, and that would open the space up without really having to alter or renovate the kitchen. However, then you lose all these or these cabinet space. And I'll open them for you. The drawers over here. This is fairly deep, so it's very useful. And then you have furthermore drawers over here.
Wait, I'm sorry. That is an induction stove? That's what that's called. Oh.
That is not. That is a regular electric.
What's
but if you
between electric and induction? I don't know actually.
So induction, what it does is you can do very specific cooking. Like you can go, with electric, it takes some time to heat up to a temperature range. With induction, you can basically, if you want to go to 350, you'll go to 350 within a second. So it's a big difference where you can do really specific cooking, especially if you're really into cooking and want to time or temperature your So, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to show you the ovens. So the ovens are the panels over here. This is for, I think, the lower level, and this is the top level. So you can have, say, if you're baking and also doing a roast at the same time, you can. So I'm going to pull back again and show you the kitchen space. So if you really like cooking, one thing you like is that the kitchen has a lot of cabinets and a lot of counter space. Now, it does mean that you would have to potentially use bar stool and use the kitchen top as dining space. Otherwise, the only other space for a dining table probably is around here, but that might cramp up the living room. So I'm going to go to the couch and give you a perspective from the window, and then from here, the rest of the living space. And happy to answer any questions.
How many does that couch seat about? Would you say like 4 people?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because it's L maybe. I don't know, depending. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 4 to 5.
Okay, cool. Robin, any questions?